Hey friends, how are you? So let's talk about Noah's Ark, Noah's vessel, right? That's the timer. Noah's Ark is a vessel built by Noah, but God instructed Noah to, complete the project. Of course, we Christians, we know the story, right? The reason why Noah's or created the ark is because there's gonna be this great flood, which no man's ever had ever seen before during that time. So nobody have heard about floods and everything. Um, so they mocked Noah and said, "You're building a ship, a boat in vast land, in uh, on top of plateaus or land." And well, the story here is, yep, it did rain, and there are several animals that were saved, including uh, Noah's family. But it's important to note that people also had a chance to go in the ark with Noah, but they were just so sinful that they just mocked Noah. So, the doors of the ark were so big and it was shut, sealed, and nobody could do that except if there were angels doing that. Um, but the thing about the ark is, the waters went up and everything. There was no navigation. The ark was just floating. When the waters went up, the ark was just floating around in any direction. But it's still, it was saved. It didn't sink. It was navigated miraculously. And who did the navigation for the ark? It was God, God's angels. They made sure the ark did not sink. People inside the ark, Noah's family, and all the animals were helpless because you cannot escape the flood. You cannot escape if it sinks, if it was tossed around the waves. But God asked Noah to build the ark, and God made sure that Noah was safe. Noah was safe until everything subsided, and yeah, they were safe. And then they started human race. It's also worthy to note that um, all land animals that did not enter the ark and people all died. These are all sinful people. And it's also worthy to note that animals in the ocean, they were not affected. Some may have died because of, the current, everything, but the fishes, the whales, they survived. The only things that were affected were land animals and people. But sea creatures, they were not affected by the flood. So the lesson we could learn here is that, you know, when God asks you to do something, He's definitely going to be there to help you execute it or fulfill it. That's the lesson there. There was no steering wheel in Noah's Ark. It's so huge, so big. You need a machine to navigate or to, run the boat, but there wasn't. Just pure wood because it was God who was the captain of the ark. It's so good to know that, you know, if you truly believe in God, then you know that you will be taken care of, sincerely. Not because you have to be honest with yourself. If you love God, if you are a true Christian, then you're safe. You don't have to doubt. Just like the people who died outside the ark, they drowned, eliminated because, you know, man's heart was continually doing evil. That's why they have to be destroyed because there's no sense in letting those evil people live. Look, I'll show you. This is one of the painful verse you could read. sorry, small j. The Lord regretted making humans beings on earth, and his heart was grieved because you don't know why. So the Lord, I will wipe the earth with human beings I have created, and not only human beings, but all the animals and crawling things and the birds of the air, for I regret that I made them. Wow, that's painful, right? Genesis 6 7. Let's change the version. Let's do New International Version. Okay, okay. Go. The Lord regretted that he made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. See? Who could trouble God? God was so disappointed. That's why he said, I will wipe from the face of the earth human race. Because in their heart, they just want to do bad things. That's why you and I, fellow Christians, if by this time you love doing bad, gossip, stealing, destroying other people's reputation, greed, and everything, and you don't have what you call remorse in doing that, then you are gonna be wiped out. So scary. I mean, for me and you as Christians, we know this is real. We know sin is damaging and it will eat you alive. And you're gonna be erased from the earth. You're gonna be destroyed. If you're not gonna be destroyed by your own sin, God will eliminate you. I'm sorry to say, that's the Bible. But no matter how deep your sin is, there's this grace. Just ask forgiveness sincerely, and those sins will no longer be there. But it takes time. Understanding God's grace, Jesus' saving grace, is not overnight. As we all know, it is gonna be a miracle. And that's a miracle that we all need. So don't forget, there's always a limit to sin. We will be wiped out. But the good news is God is always there to help us, to save us, to be there and redeem us. He gave his only begotten Son so that we could have a chance in life, in a good life. Have a wonderful evening. Happy Sabbath.